Primal Chaos.
All right, folks, Primal Chaos here. You read the title. My Chemical Romance isn't a new band to me. I'm familiar with some of their work, particularly the Black Parade album. I remember reading there was a I think it's Mixdown magazine or something like that had a special, like a full feature article on when that album came out about the mixing and stuff like that. And I remember reading it, and I was so interested in the mixing engineer's perspective of it that I had a really good listen to the album, and to be honest, it blew me away. It's probably one of the all-time great just straight up rock albums ever made, as far as, like, you know, its mixing, the composition, its direction. It's just a really solid piece of rock work, right? Whether it falls into whatever genre or whatever, I just look at it as just an old school rock album in the same way as someone like Alice Cooper would have made, you know, a subtly concept-based album back in like the 70s or 80s or something like that, you know. And I really enjoy that, particularly the title track. I really dig. And so, you know, I'm familiar with My Chemical Romance. I like Helena as well. It's a great song. But they're not a band that I follow religiously and make sure I hear everything that they've produced. Which is probably to my own detriment, to be honest, because everything they got going for them, I kind of appreciate. So it makes more sense if I was a fan, but I listen to so many different diverse styles. I never get around to sort of fanboying over any particular band for too long, you know. So I know that it's been a fair while since these guys have done anything. In fact, I thought they were done, to be honest with you. I know Gerard Way does a lot of other things. He's got his hands in a lot of pies. Umbrella Academy, obviously, and the comic book and all that sort of stuff. And also I think he runs a comic book studio or something like that, or like a publisher or something. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they're all very busy guys. But yeah, so when this one popped up, I was actually more surprised that they were still producing music than anything. This one's going to be a little different because it's not, I think it's just essentially a lyric video or some sort of, you know, just a thing to get the song out there. So we'll see how this unfolds, but I don't mind that because this way I get to focus more on the actual song. What am I hoping for? Possibly something that evolves over time. I like their stuff best when it starts off subtly and just builds the drama over time. I think, you know, they're really good at sort of at the dynamics of the composition of the song, you know, making it stay interesting throughout. So I'm hoping to hear more of that. I hope it's just not a throwaway song. You know, I don't know. So let's check it out. Let's see what happens. My Chemical Romance, The Foundations of Decay. Cool title. Cool synth. It's really organic, in that it doesn't sound like it was just a patch they found. It sounds like they really tweaked it, and it's got an organic sort of distorted noise sort of thing going on. Oh, wow. Sounds like Pink Floyd or somebody. Oh, nice. Oh, Dream On, anyone? Does that remind you of Dream On? Aerosmith? So I just got to stop it there. That was interesting. Like he's referencing a point in time when the day the towers fell, right? I mean, you got to assume 9/11. But it's funny. The song I'm hearing doesn't sound like a song that was composed in 2022. It sounds like a song that was literally being played off a vinyl record that you found in the attic that's your dad listened to in like 1976 or something like that, you know? And so hearing that reference kind of pulled me out of it a little bit. That's how authentic sounding the song is. It's, you know, I mean, they're doing little things like on Gerard's voice, they've got, like, you know, the AM radio style effect, which is kind of a little, I guess, has origins in sort of like the Beatles and stuff like that. But they've also got a slapback echo on it, which makes it sound a little bit psychedelic. So then you're getting more sort of 60s prog sort of elements. I mean, this is just, just a melange of different influences, but beautifully woven together to seem cohesive enough that it sounds authentic. You know, I'm actually blown away so far. I'm going to jump back a little bit. It also doesn't hurt that Gerard sings with that kind of semi-British accent as well. Good lyrics, wow. You know, it's funny. I keep hearing when they go into that chorus break there. For whatever reason, I have this sensation that it should hit bigger. You know, like da na 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 ba ba. You know, but I think that's just a notion of just something it's become so predictable that happens. Because, you know, everybody wants to produce a song with the biggest impact and the biggest amount of like energy, you know, especially coming into a chorus. And they've taken it a little bit easier here, both times. I was expecting it the second time, maybe they'll do it a little bit more intense or something. But what I'm understanding now is that's kind of like, it's probably by design, because back in those early prog days, they didn't really have that in the arsenal. They would just write the songs and things would get bigger because guitars and stuff would come in, not because the producer had like cut out a little bit of space and made it so that when the bass and the guitars and the drums all come in on the chorus, it sounds like you're getting punched in the face. That's kind of a bit more of a modern aesthetic choice now. And so them opting to be more subtle coming into the chorus, even though it does pick up energy quite dramatically, if they did it the other way, it would sound like a My Chemical Romance song from probably, you know, 5 to 10 years ago, as opposed to an authentic classic prog rock song from the the early 70s or whatever, or mid 70s, late 70s. Either way, like, just see if you can hear what I'm saying. I kind of, whenever I hear songs, I kind of almost try to predict what they're going to do. It's a occupational hazard when you think about composition and music and stuff all the time, even just as a hobby. You tend to sort of anticipate where things are going, and oftentimes the best reactions come from when they do the opposite, and you go, "Oh, where did that come from?" You know. So hang on, let's jump back, see if you can hear, because they spend all this energy doing this subtle build up, da 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 da, and it's crescendoing, and then you expect it to drop away and just have this explosive hit, and they've kind of smoothed off the edges a little bit, and I think it's just an interesting and really valid choice. Love those lyrics. It's great. I think it's got to do with the drum rhythm. I don't know. But it sounds really good now that I hear it a few times. Oh, this sounds like Sabbath. Come on. How raw does that sound? Wow. Wow, cool vocals. I love when they lean into the one and you get that sort of pushing forward kind of energy. It's really cool. Come on! I love it. That's awesome. Now it's getting sort of more Bowie. There's so many influences here, man. Oh. Come on. All right. All right. Stick around after the break and I'll give you a full summary. Hey guys, this video is made possible by Enchroma. 1 in 6 guys and 1 in 200 women are colorblind. And if that happens to be you, there's something you can do about it. Click the link in the description. It'll take you to Enchroma's website where you can get a free eye test. And while you're there, maybe pick up some corrective lenses. They've got styles to suit everybody and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So you got really nothing to lose. And while you're there, use the code CHAOS in checkout to get 10% off. Tell them Primal Chaos sent you. Wow, man. Wow. You know, when I chose this song to do, I didn't have high expectations for it because, you know, it's one of those things where when a band's been out of the loop for a little while and they try to make a comeback, I mean, I don't know, maybe my chem's been busy this whole time. I don't know. I just they haven't come across my desk. That's all I'm getting at. But, wow. I mean, first thing I want to say, because it was occurring to me right towards the end, is that there's something to be said for recording rock old school. Right, everybody nowadays is using amp simulators and all that sort of stuff, and there's something that you lose. As far as I'm aware, I haven't never seen any good way of doing it. And I mean, I use amp sims and stuff all the time. I think they're great, and a valid choice for just about everybody who doesn't have access to a full studio where they can crank up a guitar amp or even have access to the gear and stuff like that. I mean, Tim Henson uses amp simulators and stuff all the time. He's one of the foremost guitar players in the world currently, right? But what you lose is that ability to have natural, organic sounding feedback, which we heard at the end. There was just layers and layers of guitar noise and feedback. which you just can't do if you're doing it in the box. It just doesn't work that way. When you try to feedback a guitar through an amp sim through the studio monitors or whatever, it just turns into a microphonic squeal. It's just not great sounding, if it works at all. So that out of the way, what I mentioned halfway through the song, my impression of maybe when they come into the choruses being a little bit sort of tapered off and stuff like that, now I understand was just a way of pushing all of that dramatic impact to the end. Like that breakdown towards the end there was just, again, simplistic, but super punchy, and just like they essentially, save the payoff right for the right moment, the crescendo of the song. And then they go into more choruses, and then rather than sort of it dropping back down, they sort of take it in a new direction. There was some beautiful drum play going on. The drummer kept on switching up rhythms every few bars for a period there, to sort of give you, rather than having that sort of on the one kind of accent, kind of pushing forward rolling beat, it goes into more of a cruisy beat, and then some other stuff, like everybody's just firing on all cylinders. And not only that, it's just an amazing composition. It just is. Like, the complexity of it, it's the way... One thing I've always been envious of is people and bands who are capable of honoring influences in a way that's super authentic. Like an example, like a fringe example, I guess, would be someone like Steel Panther, right? The reason I've ever listened to any Steel Panther and liked any Steel Panther is because they're so musically authentic. If they didn't play like an amazing 80s hair metal band, the joke would be lost. It wouldn't work, right? But they managed to nail all the influence on the head. In fact, sometimes you can listen to an album, like I sort of got more into like the first album. I think it's Feel the Steel or something like that. A little bit of the next album, but not too much after that. But the authenticity of the music that they produce is as important a part of the joke as the tongue-in-cheek or subversive lyrics and things like that they do. And so, to me, if you're attempting to emulate a genre or emulate or honor or perform an homage to somebody, and to be able to nail that style, to me, is something I'm really envious of, because it shows attention to detail. It shows the ability to get out of your own way to honor the subject matter. But also there's a delicate balance there, because you also want to inject part of yourself into it as well. So it's not just My Chemical Romance performing the hits of like 70s prog. It's 70s prog through the prism of My Chemical Romance, And man, this is... I didn't expect this. I mean, you sort of know... These guys have always been good at coming up with... like they're not just sort of cookie cutter songs and stuff like that for the most part, or at least any of the really big songs that are really successful. They show a lot of complexity in the back end of the writing process and stuff like that. They're not just they never seem like a band that just opts for the first choice or the easy choice, the low hanging fruit, so to speak. But this song to me seems like a culmination of that aesthetic work ethic, and all of that sort of snowballing over the years, and you get this, which is like a magnum opus. It's just it's really good. I can't wait to hear the rest of the album, and I'd love to see what they come up with for a music video for this, if they do. Like, this was cool, actually. I really liked... It's basically just flies. And the foundations of Decay, it all makes sense, right? They don't technically need to make a music video. I mean, Tool would essentially bring out this video, and that would be the music video, So I don't see why anyone else wouldn't. But wow, I'm just kind of speechless. I didn't expect it to move me the way that it did, as far as like it. Occasionally a song comes along and it reinvigorates your energy as far as listening to music goes. I've been doing a lot of reactions lately that are always impressive songs, and I've got a lot to talk about. But I'm not sure that they're sort of the driving force behind me wanting to continue doing this. You know what I mean? And occasionally you find songs like this, or you find a band like Unleash the Archers, or you find, discover things that you've never seen before that just, you go, this exists? How have I not known about this? Japanese metal, bands like Guitaric Spin just pulled out of the air, that just tickle your fancy and just make you want to explore, random music more. This is one of those. This is basically that. So thank you, Mike M. You guys are back, man. Keep up the good work, and when that album drops, I'm going to be the first one listening to it. So, wow, that was really cool. Anyway, listen, if you feel like I've brightened your day at all, feel free to support the channel. Just buy me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description. Like, share, follow, subscribe. If you think anyone will benefit from this, just send them a link. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you guys on the next one. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. If you haven't already, please think about subscribing. I do a lot of this sort of stuff, and we're getting close to 10K. And it's, and it's like when when you're changing the volume on your TV in the old days, and it would give you the odd numbers would drive you crazy. That's where I'm at right now. I need to hit 10K. Not because of the clout, but because the number just annoys me, Anyway, thanks again, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.